Coming up, NCAI's Youth Commission co-president shares upcoming initiatives, and an art exhibit celebrates the critical roles of Anishinaabe, Inuit, and Pueblo women. Plus, ICT's Joaqlin Estus shares her latest stories from Alaska. I'm Aaliyah Chavez. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Hopa. Thank you for joining us. We start today in the north, where two Alaska Native organizations have announced they are leaving a major coalition. The Central Council of the Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes says it is leaving the Alaska Federation of Natives, also known as AFN, after this year. That comes as the Alaska Native Nonprofit Corporation, the Tanana Chiefs Conference, also announced a withdrawal. AFN was formed in 1966 to settle land claims and is the state's largest Native organization. It has been a voice of Alaska Natives to address issues in public policy and government ever since its founding. The Tlingit and Haida officials said while it is leaving AFN, it does not see it as a divorce. They said they are able to advocate for themselves and can use their AFN membership fee for other purposes. The Tlingit and Haida is the state's largest federally recognized tribal government with more than 35,000 citizens. The Tanana Chiefs Conference said in response to its withdrawal that one of its biggest priorities has been to protect salmon. The group said AFN has taken no significant action on those directives. In late April, a majority of tribal delegates voted not to renew their membership. At least 3 other departures have happened in recent years, including by the Arctic Slope Regional Corporation, Doyon Limited, and the Aleut Corporation. The U.S. Postal Service unveiled a new Forever stamp that honors a legendary Ponca leader. Chief Standing Bear is remembered for his courage and for winning a groundbreaking lawsuit. ICT's Shirley Snavy was at the unveiling last week and has this report.
Imagine that it's Christmas week, 1878, and your only son, a 16-year-old boy by the name of Bear Shield, is curled up on the bottom of a damp Army canvas tent in northern Oklahoma, dying of malaria. But before his eyes close in death, he begs his father to take his body back to their beloved homeland on the Nebraska-Niobrara River.
Upon returning to Nebraska, Standing Bear was arrested. On May 12, 1879, a historic court ruling recognized Standing Bear and Native peoples of this land as human beings.
Many of us Poncas have known his story of our great chief and what that meant, the significance of once not being identified as a human, and what courage it took to walk into a courtroom, unknown foreign territory, really to ask for justice, to be treated like everyone else, and to return home to homeland. And if it had not have happened, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be in Nebraska.
This is my country. This is my land. The same land my grandfather and his brothers and his sisters gave their life for here today.
I think the greatest message was from Standing Bear's grandson that the greatest platform of life is love, and it gives us principle and foundation. And so that's a message that we have to spread and not take for granted. And as I just shared, we raise our family with the simple saying is love conquers all. And love and life is who we are in Nebraska.
In Lincoln, Nebraska, Shirley Snavy, ICT News.
An Indigenous woman is helping the University of North Dakota return the ancestral remains it houses. The university announced in early May that Mary Baker is assisting the school as it works to comply with the federal law known as the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. Baker, who is a Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation citizen, will also serve as a bridge for the tribal nations partnering with UND. Since September of 2019, she has worked as the NAGPRA officer and cultural resources project manager within her nation's territory. Baker says survivors of these ancestors can take comfort in knowing that a tribal citizen will be taking on this role. The compliance liaison said she plans to include and begin using cultural protocols for every item UND houses. Continuing our coverage on the sex abuse trial involving the former Dances with Wolves actor Nathan Chasinghorse. Chasinghorse and his lawyers have asked the state of Nevada's High Court to toss out his sweeping indictment in state court. The appeal marks his latest attempt to get the pending charges dismissed. Last month, Judge Carly Kearney upheld Chasinghorse's indictment, and his trial was set to begin May 1st. But the criminal proceedings are now delayed as Chasinghorse appeals that decision. His lawyers argued that beyond the question of guilt, the appeal presents an opportunity to clarify confusion in the state law regarding consensual sex. Chasinghorse remains jailed in Las Vegas on 18 felony charges, including sexual assault of a minor, child abuse, and kidnapping. If convicted, he could be sentenced to life in prison. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. Yanenowi Logan is the co-president of NCAI's Youth Commission. She and her other co-president delivered the second ever Youth State of Indian Nations address at the organization's annual conference earlier this year. Yanenowi, who currently studies environment and sustainability at Cornell University, joins us now virtually. Hello to you, Yanenowi.
Namaskano. Hi.
Tell us about some of your duties and what it's like working on the Youth Commission for NCAI.
Yeah, of course. So this is my second term on the NCAI Youth Commission, and this term I serve as the co-president. A lot of what we do is organizing community events within our own internal communities, and then we bring it back out to the greater Indian country youth to provide workshops and different resources for youth at our conferences or online virtually. And so a lot of that is just kind of organizing community, but also a few things that I'm personally working on are different resolutions and kind of different issues that we're trying to shine light on and bring advocacy towards on specific different issues in Indian country.
NCAI's mid-year conference is approaching pretty quickly. How have you been preparing for that, and what can people expect to hear from the Youth Commission?
Yeah, so I'm really excited for this year's mid-year conference. It's going to be in Minneapolis, and we've been having biweekly meetings, organizing different speakers and sessions and events and cultural programming for attendees. And we're really trying to ramp up our youth participation this year. We had a lot show up for our Executive Council winter session, and it was really exciting to see how many youth are engaged and willing to speak up and be advocates in Indian country. So yeah, and then we kind of have been meeting a lot, but we're expecting to see some workshops on leadership development, professional development, scholarship success, and then just kind of very entertaining workshops as well with different advocates and idols in Indian country that we're hoping to invite some writers, some authors, some youth that have started some really great initiatives in Indian country. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
We're seeing clips here of last year's State of the Indian Nations address, which of course you participated in. What were the high points that you shared with tribal leaders?
This was an extremely rewarding experience for me. I knew that if I was going to present to Indian country, that I wanted to say something that not only demanded something from our leaders in Indian country, but highlighted and acknowledged and celebrated the youth and the initiatives that we're bringing to the table today. And so that's kind of how I framed my talk. It was really like a young Indigenous woman framed speech that highlighted the initiatives and in all different areas of Indian country advocacy, as far as MMIW and climate change and Indian boarding schools. And so that was really like a rewarding experience, and to see that the data is important, the numbers are important, the STEM side of academia and research, it's all important, and that we need to kind of uplift the youth that are participating in that.
On top of all of this work, as I mentioned, you're a student at Cornell. What made you interested in majoring in environment and sustainability?
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of a really easy choice for me when I was applying to Cornell. I didn't have a great idea of what I wanted to do, but environment and sustainability was really what I knew best and what my traditional upbringing kind of taught me to focus and advocate for. And it tied in great with my writing that I grew up with my mother. She's a great writer. And so I knew that I had strong writing and I had a strong focus in environmental sustainability issues. And so now I'm in the environmental humanities, and I like to write about issues and speak up for issues. And so that's kind of where I ended up with climate change advocacy.
You're also part of the Native American and Indigenous student group at Cornell. Tell us about some of the issues that you bring awareness to through that group.
Yeah, so I serve as the co-chair. This is my second term, and that has been a community that is just like makes my heart so full. This year we planned a student panel that spoke about the Indian boarding school experience and our experience as generational spawns of that. And then we just finished a fundraiser for MMIW that donated the proceeds, $1,700 of the proceeds to Rising Hearts, which is established by Jordan. Sorry, I can't remember her name right now, but it was a great fundraiser, and it goes to Indigenous women's resources. And we, a group of 10 of us ran around our Cornell campus, a 5K, and we were dressed in red. We had awareness and we had the signs, and we just kind of brought awareness, and we brought those funds back to home, and we also carried a lot of medicine with us. And so that was really important. But those are just a couple of things. A lot of the time we're just focusing on community and building each other up and making sure that we're all succeeding in these institutions.
I'd like to swing back to the NCAI Youth Commission for youth who are listening to this interview and maybe want to find ways to get involved. What are the ways they can do that?
Yeah, I mean, reach out, follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram, NCAI Youth, but we have pretty regular meetings that you can engage with via Zoom and come and ask us questions about how can you establish a youth council, how can you apply for college, how can you, be financially literate, like just things like that. And if you have any of those kinds of questions, feel free to reach out to anyone on the Youth Commission. And then, attend a conference. We are working on establishing a travel conference or a travel scholarship so that youth who aren't financially able to make to the conference are able to fly out and experience what the conference is kind of like and how to be participant and aware.
Well, Yanenowi Logan, we look forward to seeing what you continue to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Detroit Institute of Arts has organized a traveling statewide exhibition that presents the works of Native and First Nations women. It is called Vitality and Continuity, Art and the Experiences of Anishinaabe, Inuit, and Pueblo Women. It explores themes like motherhood, spirituality, and visual culture across generations. Here to tell us more is the curator, Denene De Quintal. Hi, Denene.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing very well. We're happy that you're here today. Tell us more about which artists and works are featured in this exhibit.
We have works by Kelly Church. We also have works by Pitalusa Sela, Nampeo, a variety of artists from different cultures and backgrounds. This is a Lucy Lewis pot that's currently on the screen. We have cycles as well by a prominent artist. So we're really excited to have such a variety of artists in the exhibition.
The pieces come from different time periods and different communities. Is this where the word continuity comes into play throughout the theme?
Most definitely is continuity comes into play because we're also trying to show the vitality and the continuity of Native American art across cultures and across time and space.
Can you give us some context in terms of if an exhibit like this has ever existed at the museum before?
In the past, it has not. There's been focus on other aspects of the collection, especially our Great Plains and Eastern Woodlands. But looking at women across the artistic spectrum, we have not done this before.
I understand there are also written and recorded reflections throughout the exhibit. How does the variety in storytelling amplify the message and experience of this exhibit?
I think that all of the artworks in the exhibition are amazing, but some of the highlights of the exhibitions are the perspectives which engage the artworks. For example, there are members of the West Baffin Cooperative who react to Peter Lucis Sela's Strange Ladies in Red Mittens. You can listen to his great story about how she and one of her friends boarded a polar bear who wandered into the campsite. Euphemia Sue Franklin of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians and her husband, Chris Franklin, who was Oneida and recently passed away. They react to artworks created during the boarding school era and discuss the trauma that boarding schools have and continue to inflict on Native American communities. Eric Fender from San Ildefonso Pueblo, a descendant of Maria Martinez, created a pot which visitors can touch. We also have a video by the artist Kelly Church demonstrating how to make black ash baskets and explaining how the invasive emerald ash borer insect has disseminated the trees she uses to create her artworks.
That's wonderful. How did this idea form to bring together all of these voices? How did it start?
The idea started because a part of this exhibition, which is funded by the Art Bridges Foundation, is to bring together different perspective and different museums within the state of Michigan. And we had to be able to highlight each of our collections. And by doing so, elevate the voices of Native Americans and their perspectives throughout the state of Michigan. So we came together and talked about what our collections each held and how we can best highlight this perspective, utilizing the exhibition as the vehicle to do so.
And what has been the response so far from people who visit the exhibit?
The exhibit has been on display at the Dennis Museum in Traverse City, and so far the reaction has been very positive, especially with the component of including Indigenous perspectives and Indigenous voices.
There was partnership, as you just mentioned, working with different types of tribal nations, including folks who are Anishinaabe, Inuit, and Pueblo. Maybe talk more about what the feedback was when you were working with those artists in terms of making this exhibit come to light.
I think that the exhibition depended on these artists to be able to make sure we were providing a perspective that was representative of the communities and the artists. We worked closely with some artist families to ensure that we had their viewpoint and that came across in the exhibition. So it was great working together with community members, and I think the exhibit reflects that.
How long will this exhibition be displayed for? And for people at home who, can't have access to going to Michigan, what are the ways they can view it?
We have a video by Kelly Church available online that talks about her basket making process. We also have some information on the DIA's website about the exhibition, and the exhibition is currently on view at Dennis Museum Center in Traverse City, Michigan through May 19th. It will be at Boniface Art Center in Escanaba, Michigan from May 28th through September 10th, and it then will be on exhibit at Marshall Frederick Sculpture Museum from September 22nd through January 6th, 2024.
Well, Denene De Quintal, the curator for the Detroit Institute of Arts, thank you so much.
Thank you.
National leaders praised Alaska's tribal health system at the National Indian Health Board's annual conference earlier this month. ICT National Correspondent Joaqlin Estus covered that event and joins us now from Anchorage. Hi, Joaqlin.
Hi, Leah. Good to see you.
Same to you. Let's start off here with the National Indian Health Board's gathering recently. What did you take away about the Alaska tribal health system?
Well, Alaska has the problem that a lot of rural areas have, and that is how to deliver quality health services over vast distances. And so they use telemedicine, but they also use a paraprofessional approach, and they created community health aides who are paraprofessional healthcare providers, and they're based in clinics in villages. And then they work under the supervision of a physician based in Anchorage or in a sub-regional clinic or regional hospital. And if the patient needs more advanced care, they get sent to that sub-regional clinic, to the regional hospital, or to the Alaska Native Medical Center in Anchorage. And they also use telemedicine. So at the National Indian Health Board annual meeting, they basically gave an overview of that system and how it's working, and they consider it a great success.
And do they consider it a model for other tribal nations located in different parts of the country?
Yes, very much so. And so the state is divided. The way they have it organized is tribal health organizations have formed in the various regions of Alaska, and they're responsible for the care at the clinic and regional clinic and hospital level. And then if the patient needs to see a specialist, they go to the Alaska Native Medical Center, which is run by a statewide organization, the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, and South Central Foundation, which provides primary care to residents of South Central Alaska.
I want to switch gears to talk about what we heard earlier in our newscast. As someone who has covered Alaska for decades, what is the significance of the two Native organizations withdrawing from the Alaska Federation of Natives?
Well, the Tanana Chiefs Conference and Tlingit and Haida Central Council have followed in the footsteps of some regional corporations that dropped out of AFN, and it seems to be I'm afraid to say it might be a growing trend. And what's happened is, so AFN is made up of village corporations and tribes, regional corporations, and then regional nonprofits and tribes. And it's hard. And so there are hundreds of corporations, for instance, at the village level, 12 regional, and then there are likewise hundreds of tribes and regional, and there's a dozen regional nonprofits. So that gives you a sense of the huge group of interests that they're trying to get together to agree on certain issues, and they haven't always succeeded in that. And the tribes, in this case, the two tribes that dropped out, the two Native organizations that dropped out, feel like the AFN, Alaska Federation of Natives, has not given enough attention to subsistence and to tribal sovereignty. And so they were basically saying the money that we're contributing to keep AFN going has not paid off for us. So critics, however, say that we need that statewide united voice. And it has come into play on some major issues. One commentator said that the last time it came into play was when a right-wing Republican won the primary in an election against U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski. The Native community threw its weight behind Lisa, and she ended up winning a write-in campaign to become U.S. Senator for Alaska.
So that just goes to show the power of the body. Joaqlin, we only have a short time left here, but First Lady Jill Biden is set to travel to Bethel on Wednesday to highlight some broadband expansions. Describe the community of Bethel and if a visit like this has ever happened before.
Well, yeah, this is the first time a First Lady has visited Bethel, which is a town of more than 6,000 people. It's the largest community in a region the size of Oregon. And it's, I think it's about 60 or 80% Alaska Native. And it's a regional hub for villages that are predominantly Alaska Native. She's going out there to talk about the Infrastructure Act and how that's, some money from that is going to be used to distribute broadband, to bring broadband out to this huge region in the state that has had very little to no broadband access till now.
Well, we'll definitely have to watch for those developments. ICT National Correspondent Joaqlin Estus, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.